Is the G7X Mark II the perfect compact or a scam? I've had one since 2018, and I've shot hundreds of photos and videos with it. In my opinion, it can be the perfect camera for some, but there is a lot of nonsense hype. So I want to give you an honest look at the G7X Mark II and who this camera is and isn't for. And I'll give you alternative cameras that you might consider instead. And I'll leave links down below for the G7X Mark II and the alternative cameras with the best pricing. Now, the G7X Mark II has always been extremely popular for two main reasons. The first one being the super small design that can literally fit in the palm of your hands. And you can easily fit this into a jean or jacket pocket. And the body itself is extremely durable and built like a tank. I've treated my camera with zero respect and have not had a single issue, except the screen is kind of cracked. And when you compare the G7X Mark II to Canon's newest compact camera, the G7X Mark II is still significantly smaller, although the newer camera does have better specs, which we will talk about later. Looking further into design, the G7X Mark II also has a tilt screen on the back that also flips up for vlogging, and it's also a touch-sensitive screen over autofocus, changing major settings and your menus, so you can kind of use it like a smartphone despite this being an older camera. Although the button layout on the G7X Mark II is super simple, and it only has a few pages of menus, making it a very beginner-friendly camera. And a few features on the G7X Mark II that I know a lot of you guys will absolutely love is one, it actually has a built-in ND filter for sunny outdoor shooting, so you can always get the perfect photo when traveling. On top of that, the G7X Mark II can also transfer photos directly to your phone, computer, or cloud, and despite this being an older camera, the process is still super smooth that makes the G7X Mark II feel modern. Now, with a smaller body, does come a smaller battery, but surprisingly enough, this battery is actually going to last you a pretty long time, and you can easily go all day with casual photo and video shooting, but if you're a power user, I definitely recommend buying spares. Now, the biggest reason that people like the G7X Mark II over modern compact cameras is the built-in pop-up flash. And this is something you straight up do not see on modern vlogging cameras like the ZV-1 line or even the new Canon PowerShot. In my opinion, this is kind of overhyped. While it's nice to have the built-in flash that's a pop-up, you can easily buy a $50 third-party flash that is actually going to give you better results than the built-in flash on the G7X Mark II. And you might be worried about size, but this is my GR3X with an aftermarket flash and my G7X Mark II. And as you can see, the two cameras are pretty much the same size, so it's not that big of a deal. And the reason newer compact cameras don't have a flash anymore is because instead you have a better microphone for vlogging. However, the G7X Mark II both has a built-in flash and a built-in microphone, and for the time, the audio from this microphone was 10 out of 10. But this is what it sounds like now. This is the audio test with the G7X Mark II indoors without competing noise, and it should sound pretty good. And this is what the audio sounds like outside with a little bit of light traffic in the back. Shouldn't sound too bad, but with heavy traffic, it probably won't sound good. But this is what you can more or less expect when using this camera outside. I think the microphones on the G7X are good, but not amazing. Now, normally I would say you should get an external mic for the best audio, but there is no input for an external microphone on the G7X Mark II, so you're pretty much stuck with the in-camera audio. However, the newer Sony ZV-1 and the Canon G7X Mark III do have a microphone input. However, before you hop on the hype train for those other cameras, let's talk about the second reason the G7X Mark II is so popular and arguably better than the competition. And that comes down to the color and the lenses on this camera. The G7X Mark II has a brilliant 24 to 100 millimeter lens, which lets you get a wide shot and a super zoom shot. And it also has an aperture of f1.8 to f2.8, which makes the G7X Mark II very good in low light and also gives you more of that blurry background look to all of your images. And this lens can also be used for macro photography for super close-up shots. In my opinion, the lens on the G7X Mark II is actually better than the competition from something like the Sony ZV-1, but one thing you should know is that the lens on the G7X Mark II is not very sharp and is also kind of soft. However, that's actually one of the reasons people like this camera. Having a softer lens gives you almost a vintage digicam or film look to all of your photos and videos, and the G7X definitely has a nostalgia factor that people really like it for. Another thing that contributes to the look of this camera are the colors. The G7X Mark II has very vibrant and poppy colors that will absolutely blow you away. The colors definitely feel nostalgic, and they definitely feel like a different time period compared to the very crisp, clinical, and almost flat colors of modern cameras. Which is why the G7X Mark II is known for having this magical look to it. And comparing the G7X Mark II to the newest Canon PowerShot V1, The G7X Mark II definitely has a more vibrant and magical look to it, where the PowerShot looks kind of flat and clinical, though technically the colors are more accurate. Now, which colors you like better is really up to you, but you can tweak the PowerShot V1 to look closer to the G7X Mark II, though in my opinion, it doesn't quite get there. But if colors are important to you, there are other cameras that have the same special look, but unfortunately it's just not Canon. The Sony ZV-1 has several creative filters that are also customizable that can give you a look very close or even better than the G7X Mark II, plus it also has cinematic vlog mode that gives you a more stylized look to all of your videos right in camera. And there's also the Fuji X100VI that is significantly bigger, but this has 16 film emulations built into the camera that give you a way better look than the G7X Mark II. And there's also the Ricoh GR3, which is about the same size, also has filmic looks built into the camera, and it also has a much better sensor that will absolutely blow the G7X Mark II out of the water. The G7X Mark II definitely has a unique vintage look, but let's not pretend it's the only camera. Now, let's talk about the techs and specs inside the G7X Mark II, because it's pretty old and a lot of newer and better cameras have come out. But surprisingly enough, the G7X Mark II still holds up. It has a 20 megapixel 1-inch sensor, which is pretty great, and even the newest cameras like the Sony ZV-1 still have a 1-inch 20 megapixel sensor. But the newest Canon PowerShot V1 has a much bigger 1.4-inch sensor that's also 22.3 megapixels. But the Ricoh GR3 and the Fuji X100VI have a significantly bigger 24 megapixel and 40 megapixel APS-C size sensor, which is the same sensor size you find in proper mirrorless cameras. So these cameras are going to give you significantly better quality, and in my opinion, these are probably two of the most powerful compact cameras. And on top of that, all of the newer sensors also have better processing, are better at high ISOs when shooting in low light, and overall, you're just going to get better performance. But for the audience that's interested in the G7X Mark II and its unique look, the technology in these newer and better cameras really won't matter to you. Because what you guys actually care about is shooting beautiful lifestyle photos and videos. And surprisingly enough, the G7X Mark II totally holds up. It shoots 8 frames per second in single focus mode when the subject is stationary, and 5.4 frames per second in continuous focus mode if you want to move around a bit. And the autofocus is fairly fast and accurate in photo mode. But in video mode, the autofocus can randomly drift, which might make vlogging a little frustrating. But something that probably won't surprise you is that the newer modern cameras shoot way faster with way better autofocus. Specifically, the PowerShot V1 and the Sony ZV-1 can shoot as fast as 15 to 24 frames per second, so you can get all the action shots you want. But if you're not shooting action, it won't matter to you. But something to note is that the G7X Mark II's shooting speeds are actually the same as the high-end fancy cameras like the Ricoh GR3 and the Fuji X100VI, so these speeds are okay because even the high-end cameras only shoot about the same speed. Video is probably where you guys will be disappointed. The G7X Mark II only shoots full HD video at 24 and 30 frames per second and 60 frames per second for 2x slow motion. And the video itself is only full HD, there is no 4K, and there's really nothing special about the video. Even with the unique G7X Mark II colors, the video just feels kind of low quality. There's like just nothing magical about it. Now, with all the info that you have about the G7X Mark II, and considering the high resale price, is this camera actually worth it, or should you consider an alternative camera? Well, the resale of the G7X Mark II in mint, almost brand new condition is anywhere between $800 to $1,400, mainly because this camera is so hyped up right now. Though sometimes on Facebook, you can find this camera heavily used at a much cheaper price of $400 to $300. Now, whether this camera is right for you or not, considering the price point, really depends on who you are. If you're an Instagram girly, a girly pop, a girl boss, and I say that with all due respect, I have 4 sisters, or just a cool dude who wants to flex on Instagram, and your goal is to simply capture your lifestyle in a beautiful way and keep the whole process uncomplicated and simple, and you never plan to properly learn how to use a camera or do any sort of photo editing, if you can afford this camera, go ahead and buy it. But no, you are getting finessed by these resellers, and this camera is barely worth $100. Because for the amount of money you will pay for this camera, you could actually get a modern camera that's going to give you way better images if you know how to use cameras and you're willing to spend a bit of time actually getting to the final results. But if that does not sound like you, don't hesitate. Buy the camera, but you are getting finessed. And if you're someone that doesn't care about the style or the unique look of the G7X Mark II, and you actually understand cameras and you're passionate about photography and video, and maybe you're even an influencer, I have better options for you. The Fuji X100VI for the best photo experience, the Ricoh GR3X for a compact photo experience, the Sony ZV-1 Mark I or Mark II for a compact camera that can also vlog with a zoom lens, or the Canon PowerShot V1 that can both do photos, video, a really nice zoom lens, and it also has a very beginner-friendly design. And these alternative cameras are simply a better deal for the money. So the G7X Mark II is a good camera for normal people that don't care about technology. They just want to take beautiful photos and they just want to post them. But you are getting scammed, and it is a giant finesse by resellers. Personally, despite owning one and all these other cameras, I would not buy the G7X Mark II, and instead you should check out these alternatives I listed in the link down below, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.